Hi, Roy here. Thought I'd pop in with some final thoughts about Finnegans Wake by James Joyce. So, for a while now, it was 3 months, a group of us, I've called it Finnegans 15 to account for the hinterland of lurkers and participants of various kinds. We've been reading parts of James Joyce's Finnegans Wake. You may have seen videos on here, and by myself and others who've participated in that. Pat from Book Chat with Pat has done a really good concluding video where she, I think very insightfully, puts across what type of book it is and her own sort of reactions to it. Interestingly, she's gone from being someone who's kind of said they would never read it, just decided it wasn't for her, to someone who gets a lot out of it and intends to read it again. So I won't sort of try to do the same thing, but as a starting point, in the 24th century, the Starship Enterprise is in trouble. They've gone to a planet called Organia and encountered all sorts of weird anomalies. To make matters worse, they're surrounded by Klingon warships and they're at war with the Klingon Empire, and desperately need to get a message back to Starfleet headquarters. But Captain Kirk says that by now the Klingons will have broken the codes, so anything they communicate they will be able to listen into. And basically any language they use, they would probably be able to infer from context or translate it or whatever. So, Lieutenant Uhura responds, "There's an alternative, Captain, though it's risky. We can translate the clear," that is to say the basic text that they're encoding, into Urish, E-U-R-I-S-H. "What's that? I never heard of it," says Kirk. "It's the synthetic language James Joyce invented for his last novel over 200 years ago. It contains 40 or 50 other languages, including slang in all of them. Nobody but an Earthman could possibly make sense of it. And there are only a few hundred of them who are fluent in it. There's the risk it may take Starfleet Command some time to run down an expert in it, even if they recognise it for what it is." Being a communications officer, Kirk realised anew, involved a good many fields of knowledge besides subspace radio. Can it handle scientific terms? Indeed it can. You know the elementary particle called the quark? Well, that's a Urish word. Joyce himself predicted nuclear fission in the novel I mentioned. I can't quote it precisely, but roughly it goes: the abnihilation of the atom explodorates through parsuralia with an even more in the horrorumble fragmabacity amid which is general uttermost confusion are perceivable molitons scaping with molecules. I read that terribly, unlike Uhura, who knows it by heart. There's more, but I can't recall it. It's been a long time since I last read the book. That's more than enough, Kirk said hastily. Go ahead, just as long as you're sure you can read the answer. Nobody's ever dead sure of what Urish means, Uhura said, but I can probably read more of it than Klingons could. To them it'll be pure gibberish. They won't be alone, Kirk thought. So, by the 24th century, people have actually turned Finnegans Wake into a coherent language. Well, that's kind of amusing. I guess there's three possible positions relating to Finnegans Wake in that passage. One is Uhura, who's into it and has done some of the work to understand it. One is Kirk, well, I can see what it is, but I'm not interested. Just don't bother me with it. And then the Klingons will be just oblivious to it and not understand it at all. So all of us fall into one of those camps, and I guess we've become ahuras in the process of reading it. Mostly, I think some of us have decided to go so far and no further. I dare say others sort of thought nope and set it aside. So, been an interesting journey. Let's see. What is it? People talk about it being a dream. It certainly is an account of a night. Yeah, I've had dreams, and I think it is dreamlike in many ways, although personally I don't think my dreams somehow encapsulate all of human history the way these do. So it's like mythology and things beyond what any individual could possibly know, apart from obviously Joyce himself and, in the book itself. All of that's sort of occurring in recurring patterns and cycles and things like that. I had varying responses to it. I thought, some of it's very beautiful. Like a lot of us, I'd say the musicality of the language is a great thing. I think the penultimate chapter we read, that really bummed me out. And I think maybe it's meant to, it's not necessarily a criticism of the book. It's like the whole thing ends up in rather a kind of a dirty, dingy, shabby kind of place. I still stand by my assertion that it's a realist novel. Obviously not realism in the sense of like, here's things happening the way they happen in real life that you can recognise, but the way, I suppose, the way the mind, including the subconscious, encapsulates all sorts of stuff, some of which you wouldn't want to see the light of day. And Joyce is kind of bringing it all out, just like the way a river carries away all sorts of things, all sorts of deposits and so on from the city it goes through. All of that's happening as well, and ultimately it's celebrated. Ultimately it's a big yes to life. So with a couple of low points, I do enjoy it. It's a different kind of enjoyment from reading lots of other books. It's a part of it's the fun of actually figuring out what's going on, but also it's compelling in a particular kind of way. So Joseph Campbell, Skeleton Key to Finnegans Wake, talks about a sort of process of reading it. Sorry, bits of paper falling down, which is, like most things, that's in here. The leaves, the river that sort of passes away at the end in this beautiful evocation of like life ending and being renewed, carries leaves which are also the leaves of the book that we're just about to finish. Anyway, yes, Joseph Campbell sort of talks about contemplating the pages. Eventually you'll get a sense of what one word might mean. So lots of words that have these multiple meanings compressed together, and then once you've got that will connect to some others, and then maybe you'll get a sense of what the whole page or section is doing. But also, and I think this is probably my final word on the subject, I find this guy, William York Tyndall, in his Reader's Guide to Finnegans Wake, I find this assessment here speaks to my condition. Maybe what I've been trying to say about this four-ring circus is that it is a form for the feeling of being alive and kicking. Expect nothing deep in my attempt upon this form, his own guidebook. For, to echo Jane Austen's Young Lady at Bath, I do not write well enough to be unintelligible. Going back to the first sentence there, Four-ring circus. Yes, it is, and he's being a little bit clever here, because there's 4 books. It's divided into 4 big sections. 3 big sections and 1 little section. And it's certainly a circus in, like, A, it's entertaining. B, there's like lots of stuff happening. 4-ring circus. Good metaphor. It is a form for the feeling of being alive and kicking. That, I think, is what it all comes down to. The process of engaging with this book, I guess reading is the word, is, with all its difficulty, muck and bullets, it's a living thing. It's a feeling of we're here in all of this. This is happening. It's not so much just that this happened, because as everybody knows, it ends and it begins again. So once you're in it, you're in the cycle. Feeling of being alive. That's a good thing. That's why I too will revisit this at some point. Plus the reading in a group, that's been fantastic. It's been we've had side missions, little adventures. We did our Bloomsday recording, so that was fun. Certainly got to know some folks a lot better in the process of doing this. Hope we can, or some of us will do something else along these lines at some point, possibly with a more straightforward book. It was a selective reading. We filleted Finnegans Wake, and we're keeping the group going on Discord, as some of us intend to sort of finish reading the whole thing, and then there's ancillary texts as well. I think next year I'll probably read the Ellman biography and the new book about the Ellman biography. It's an infinite series of things. Finnegans Wake. In fact, if anybody wants to jump in at this late stage, you can still join the Discord, because some of us will be talking now and again, talking wakey stuff as we encounter it. Like I came across it in this Star Trek book, for instance. Stuff like that keeps happening. Right, I think that's that. Thanks for listening. See you soon. Back soon with something else.
Night, night, tell me tale of stem of stone beside the rivering waterfall, hither and thithering waterfall.